how many girls are coming on, but I'm glad you guys did. I'm glad I shared the link with you guys. I know I was supposed to chat with Jody and another chick was coming on too, but I'm just gonna share with you guys my system. And then if you guys have any questions, it's the system I've been using last year. And then I've made a little bit of tweaks to make it work for me. I was talking with a couple of the girls today and just saying, it doesn't matter what system you use, it just needs to be something that works for you and whatever you're gonna be consistent with. So earlier this year, I bought Moira Casabo's Rise leader, and I was so excited about it. I used it for about a month and then I got out of using it. And then I just went back to my like binder system. So I'm gonna share with you what I'm doing and how it's working, but I have like one main binder, which is for the year. And so last year's binder was blue, so I bought a different one this year. And this just houses all the stuff. So I'm not carrying this around with me everywhere, but I made tabs that say January through March, April through June, July through September, October through December. And then in each of them, then I'll show you what I have in there. And then what I do is I just take out the month that we're currently in and put it in the floppy notebook. And then that's just what I carry with me. So I'm not carrying the whole year around because there's no need. But at the very front of each month, I'll show you February's because that's what's in here. I made a like template, and I don't know, is this backwards for you guys since I'm backwards? Okay, it's just backwards for me because I'm looking. So it has the month at the top, and then I put, this is to track all of, I feel like I'm like hiding here. Let me talk and then I'll show you. This is to track all of my new customers. So whether Beachbody gives them to me, whether I sign them up under Juan or whether I sign them up under myself, I wanted to make sure, hey Melly, I wanted to make sure I was keeping track of how many customers I have and who's there. So that way I know, did I invite them to the Facebook group? Did I invite them to the Challenge Tracker app? And so the headers across, which it's nothing fancy, it's just like a chart, but I put the date they signed up, their name. Did I send them a welcome email, which I save a note in my phone for the welcome email. So I just copy and paste it and say, welcome to the challenge group. And all of Lily's welcome to her challenge group, all of her information, I like did it, like copied what she did and then made my own document. So my own welcome video, I did what she did and just copied it. So they get the link to that and they get the link to the Facebook group. So they get all that in the welcome email. And then I have a spot to say, did I add them to the Facebook group? Did I add them to the app? And then I put L, J, or S. And I'll show you, it's like, it's really small. It's the second to last one. And the reason why is, are they a lead from Beachbody? Did they come, or did I put them under Juan so they're not directly under me, they're under my husband's account? Or did they switch from somewhere else? Like Beachbody just randomly put them with someone and they don't have a home. And so when I asked them to invite our challenge group, they're like, well, I already do Beachbody, but I don't really have a coach. Like, well, you can totally join ours. So I put an S for switch. And then the last column says coach. So did they sign up as a coach or not, just so I know. And then I can send them information on being a coach. And then in this like little paperclip thing, I printed off the business activity tracker, one per week for the whole year, and then did like 5 sheets of paper between each one. And I'll show you guys the floppy book because this is pretty boring. This is just the binder of how I just house everything, and then it just stays, you know, in my office. But what's great, and what I didn't really do last year, and now I have to go chase it, is I think when I spend money on like Beachbody things, or prizes for my girls, or spend postage for my girls, I can put it all in the binder so that way for taxes next year I can have it on hand. So I'm trying to think smarter and not just like fall into this, because I feel like if I think ahead, like the year's done, now I don't have to redo this every month. Like, oh, I gotta find my sheets, I gotta print it. So the floppy notebook is, I got a new one. I could have used the one I was using before, but it was starting to like rip and break. So I just got this at the Dollar Tree. It's nothing fancy. But if you guys saw my other video or when I shared before, it's a little bit different. I did like a pencil pouch in here and did a Post-it note because you just always need Post-it notes, and then a highlighter and a pen. And then I also put my vision board for this year in it with my word, which is intentional, and some scary big goals. So that way every time I open it, it's like, okay, like I want to hit Success Club and go on the trip for 2021. And I'd love to be 5-star next year. So it's scary to put those goals out there because they just feel so far away. But on the back of it, there's some tracking stuff that I did because I like tracking stuff and like checking it off. That's satisfying for me because I'm like, okay, I did it. I wrote down and just printed it and just put it in here. And what I did is I put the Success Club prizes for the year. So I put down each month and then what they were. So that way, if I reached it, I was trying to find a photo of them. And when I printed this, they didn't have one online that I could find. But January, the tank top, and March, the puzzle, and June, the hooded Shakeology blankets, which my kids will probably like. September, the sweatshirt, and then December, the Theragun, and then the Success Club trip for 2021. So by having like the checklist, it's like, okay, did I earn it? Did I not? And then also I did this last year, and it was really motivating for me, is I put just all the months of the year, and then on one side, put my goal for how many Success Club points I want to earn, and then what did I actually do? So I heard Ashley Feldison do a call shortly after I signed up as a coach last year. And she said, if you are reaching your Success Club points, then you need to up it. And if it doesn't scare you, you need to make your number higher. And if you hit 15 before, like ever, then you can do it again. So why can't you do 20? So I started doing that last year. And so I was beating my numbers. And then I don't know if I got in my head or because we went to Summit, I got off track, but I stopped like climbing with my numbers. So I thought, okay, I need to do that and like have it in the forefront. So I put my number and then what do I actually hit? And then I have the team leader qualification tracker printed, but it's last year's, so I got to get the new one. And then I have just a couple spots that are important in the binder here. The first one is, let me see, the calendar. And I think this was April or Amanda that shared this in one of our calls. She printed off a calendar and put it in. And that way, when you're inviting people, if they say not till February or not till March, you can actually write their names in of when it works best for them. And then you can contact them. And then they feel special that you remember their circumstances. So I love that idea. But I also put in like Lily's team calls when she has them, or Christina Delgado's team calls, and then started planning out my year. So I went to, again, last year when I first signed up, I was watching a call with Anita Myron, and she was talking about how to plan your month and how it's really redundant, it's really boring, but people don't notice, just you notice. So the way I've planned my month is to promote a free group, have a free group, and during your free group, announce your challenge group for the next time. So that way your free group people see in your social media that you don't just do free groups, you actually have a business and you have challenge groups, and that's really what you do. So you announce it. And then I actually put the coach sneak peeks in, which I need to get back to doing because I haven't done them since before the holidays. And then also my challenger calls, like when am I going to do those? So that's what I put in the calendar and then printed it off so it's in for the year, which kind of makes me nervous because I like erasable pens because, you know, life changes, but I can always reprint it. And then the next part, which is the invites. So for January, I don't fill this in every day when people sign up, but when they do, or when a few people do, then I'll go back in and I just write down like, okay, how many challengers do I have total? Because I kind of have like a running number from day one of when I signed people up, and then the date, and I already went through this of where did they come from. And then we have the business activity tracker. And I was talking to Crystal about it, that I think I want to print my own and make it prettier. And I think I want it to be in lingo that speaks to me. Just because it's kind of blah. Like, I just feel like, I don't know, it really checks off all the boxes of everything that you need to do every day, because the success of this business. Oh, I just saw your comment, Yvette. I love erasable pens. Like, they're my favorite. But I also like when I print stuff and then it looks like all pretty, because my handwriting is pretty messy. But I feel like everything on here is stuff you need to be doing every day. But some of the stuff, like contribute to my challenge group, I don't need to check that off every day. I'm going to get in my challenge group every day, and I don't need to check it off. But maybe recognizing achievement isn't something I do every day. I really don't. And I don't always post on Instagram every day. I always have a hard time. Stories is one thing, but like thoughtful and insightful posts. So those are things I really do need to check off. But checking with my challenge group, I don't need to. Initiate connections with followers, I don't need to, because I'm going to do that every day. But I also don't want to necessarily create a new form because I want to be duplicable. So any girls that do want to sign up under me at some point, I don't want to be like, okay, you have to follow my system and then it doesn't work. I want them to, this is like easy. You can just hand it and you can follow it. So the thing that I have been doing a little bit different is I was using like a page a day, and I used to tally as I invited, and I don't do that anymore. It just takes too much time. And it took up too much paper. So at the end of every week, I was like using up too much paper. So I just write the date at the top. And then I write Instagram and Facebook. And the thing I found with Instagram is I can invite as many followers as I want to, and they don't kick me out. With Facebook, I can do between 10 and 20. And after that, they'll freeze me out for like a week and a half. So if I invite, copy and paste everyone's message, they don't like that. So I have to either send everyone individual messages, which takes too much time, or like I'm going to have to piecemeal it and do those business activity tracker of inviting multiple times during the day. So Facebook hasn't been getting as much love for me because it's just challenging. Whereas Instagram, I can invite until my fingers hurt. So what I do is I just write their name down if they say, yes, they want more information. And then 2 or 3 days later, I'll go back and then I'll follow up with them, because it's like almost always they don't respond after my second message to them. And I'll just say, how does that sound? What do you think? And then I'll put like a little dot, meaning I followed up with them. And then Facebook is on the other side. And then I always write down next to their name prices if I got to the price point, because that means that they were pretty serious, but then prices probably scared them off. So we were close. So I just need to keep chatting with them. And then inviting, I got this idea from Crystal, was inviting on Instagram by the last name letter. So I'll just type in M, and then I'll invite all my M's that day. And then tomorrow I'll invite all my N's, and that's the people who follow me with that letter. So that's kind of how the inviting has worked. I'm not sure if there's anything else in here. The last tab is my calls. So I haven't done it yet, but last year what I did is I bulk planned calls with my challengers, where I went onto the Beachbody blog and took ideas and took notes for different calls. So I had a call every week for the year. And that way I didn't each week have to come up with a new topic and figure it out, but I haven't planned anything for this year. So I'm just kind of each week planning. So I need to work in advance. But again, that's how I process. I process by planning way in advance, as far as I can, to get it done. So then in the moment, I can just be in the moment. I don't have to be stressed with coming up with everything. So that's kind of the system. There's no right or wrong way. I hope it was helpful for you guys. Do you have any questions or any thoughts? I hope I was concise and made sense.
No, but I want to make that binder.
It's good to have a home for everything, I feel like. And I wish I kept better track of my receipts for last year.
Yes. Oh, so when you invite, you don't do like tallies anymore?
No, because I don't do 62. I just invite all my followers. So I'll sit there until all the M's are done. Because it doesn't matter anymore. I'm just inviting all my followers. Oh, and then following new people, Instagram will let me follow 100 people at a time slowly.
Yeah.
But if I do it too quickly, like yesterday, and they froze me out. So I keep like toying with it, trying to see, because I want to grow my numbers. When I started, I was at 600 last year is how many followers I had. And then every time I invite, I lose followers because people get angry. But they're still watching. I mean, they're still watching my stories, but what are they doing? They're just like, nope, we're done. I don't know. When they're mean, it just makes me laugh now. I'm like, okay, there's no need to be nasty.
Yeah.
But,
so why did you change from the Rise Up to just your binder method again?
So I like the Rise Up planner, but then after a month I stopped using it. And then in December or January, when the year was getting ready to get started, or end of December, I went to go back in it, and it's her system. And so I like that everything's there, but I don't think the way that she thinks. And so I don't know, I found it, I wasn't grabbing for it. It's heavy. I wish I did, because I like that she has everything right there. But I do my gratitude journal from Rachel Hollis, and she has something that's similar in your book of wins. And so it was just a lingo that I wasn't using. And so although it's cool, and I may go back to it at some point, because I think it's undated, so I think I can go back. But I know this worked for me, and I knew that for January, I just had to, like, I've got to hit the ground running if I have huge goals, and this worked. So it was simple, and sometimes I feel like with planners, we can overcomplicate it because it's fun and someone else has created something, and just because it works for, you know, somebody else doesn't mean it'll work for you. So you got to find your own system. And that's why I wanted to share with you guys, like, what does it look like now for me? Because it's evolved over time. It hasn't stayed the same. But hopefully it'll give you an idea of what will work for you and figure out your system so everything's in the right spot. But I think the biggest thing is just the follow-up, because nobody, for me, responds back when I want them to. And so having the names of when they've said, yes, I want more information is imperative, because if I don't, I flag the note on Instagram and then they hide it. It's like Instagram doesn't want you to find the flagged messages. So it's like I can't find them anymore. Or after 3 days, they won't show it. So I have to write it down, or I'm missing people who could be interested. So.
Yeah, I remember, like, when I first started coaching, I was flagging everyone, and now I don't have those people. Like, I wish I wrote them down.
Yeah. Well, and then I think too, like, because I'm at Success Club 4, but I want to be at Success Club at least 6 this month. So I've invited everybody. I think I have letter U, V, W, Y, and Z, because there's probably no X's. So I don't have very many letters of the alphabet left, and I still need at least 2 more points. So what I'll probably do, since I don't have any names in here besides, you know, the first couple weeks of January, is I'll go through my binder from last year. So I'll go through those names, and whether they've, you know, unfollowed me or whatever, I'll just still message them if they reached out and said they were interested. And that's what's great about having the binder, is that now I have this book of names of people that said, yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Fell through the cracks somehow. So yeah. Have you done the Rise Up Planner, Yvette?
I started it, started using it how it's supposed to be this month.
How are you liking it?
I like it, but I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know yet if it's a yes or a no, but one thing for sure, the Power Hour tracker, yeah, I like it on the printed sheet how it is, because like you said, you can just check off everything. Mm-hmm. Like, you know exactly what you're supposed to do next or whatever. And on the Rise Up one, like you know how you have to hand write it at the bottom? Yeah, you have to, which I do, but for some reason it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's easier off of the tracker and just check it off rather than in the planner.
So you're supposed to do. So it always gets me where I'm like, oh, I didn't recognize anybody today. It's been a couple days. I'm like, who do I need to recognize? And it just gets me thinking of people that I need to be, you know, shouting out, which I need to be better at. Yeah. Cool. Any other thoughts, questions?
So what was in the binder again? It was a vision board.
The floppy binder or the big heavy one?
Well, what's in the big heavy one?
The heavy one is like files that say like the months of the year, and then I printed out that sheet that says the month and everybody's sign up, like, so I can just fill it in. And it also has the business activity trackers. I printed them for 52 weeks, and then I put 5 sheets of paper in between each of them. And then they're paper clips. So like February is done. So when I grab February next month, I can just put it in the floppy notebook, and March is done, and April. So I bought lined paper, so everything's ready. So I don't have to like, oh, I've got to print that, and everything's labeled. I already put the dates in too on the 52 weeks. So I just have to grab the stack, put it in the new floppy binder, and I'm ready for the next month.
Okay, hold on. I want to write something on my phone.
So you prep everything basically in the hard one, and then as you're gonna work on that month, you move it to the floppy one.
Yeah, and that way I'm only carrying around that month, but then I have all of these here. So then when January's done, I'll put January in this binder, and I'll take February and put it in the floppy. Because there's no reason to carry around a bunch of blank papers, but the reason why I did all this ahead of time is because I don't want to have to think about this every month. I'd rather use my brain power to come up with new challenge groups or reaching out to new people. This is already done. It took me one day to put it all together and print it, and it's set.
Okay, maybe I missed this, but did you create your own like templates for those sheets you have, or did you get those from somewhere?
No, I printed it with what I wanted. So I used one similar last year, and so I started doing like anytime someone was a lead from Beachbody, I was doing like a dot, and then I was doing a star for Juan, and so I was like, this is getting complicated. It's looking really messy, so I just changed my form a little bit. And I can share it with you guys. I don't know, how do I just make it a PDF or something, and I can put it in the group. And you can make it your own. But I just did all the columns that I wanted to track because I wanted to see, okay, how many people did I sign up in January, whether they're from Beachbody or not, and then how many people in February, and that way I can keep track. And so I know, how many customers, including challengers, I have, and I'm not relying on having to go through Beachbody every time and like count, and they're all there. So I can see which months were better and which ones were harder. And some people are more computer people, but I'm more of like a hands-on, like paper pen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Crystal, did you say you still need to know what was in the floppy one, or you got it?
Yeah. So the floppy one is, okay, the vision board.
Yep. And then I keep a pen and a highlighter in like one of those little, like, whatever these are, pencil holders.
Yeah.
And then the vision board in like a sheet protector. And then on the back of the vision board has like the checklist for the Success Club prizes. I'm motivated by prizes. I want to win. I want to win the free t-shirt or whatever it is. Like, I love prizes. And then it also has the like Success Club numbers. So like my goal, and then what do I actually hit? And then I have the calendar printed for the year with like, when am I going to do a free group? Because I found last year too, all of a sudden life happened and I was like, oh shoot, I haven't done a free group in like 3 weeks, and I need to provide value for people. And it's just good for me too, to not just be like, join my group. It's like, oh, let me add value to people and feel like I'm not always just asking them to join the challenge.
Yes.
So by putting that in the calendar, it's like, okay, I'm doing this, like I'm committing to it. And same thing with the coach sneak peek. It's like the last thing I want to do. Like, I'm so nervous, and I don't know. I feel like no one's coming. So
Me too. I'm not.
They say you need to do it, and I want to grow, so I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then after that, I have a tab for invites. And then that is that like paperclip section with the printout for January. And then the 52 weeks. So like I have the Success Club tracker, and then 5 sheets of paper, line paper. I don't know if that's showing up even. And then the same thing with the next one. Activity tracker, 5 sheets of paper until it's the end of the month. So like today I invited P, Q, and R. I got that far. I was just watching a show and I just kept inviting. So, but as you can see, nobody responded positively. Nobody said anything. And then the last section is my calls, which I haven't done yet. I need to put in like my topics for my challenger calls and coach calls. So I want to like plan ahead. So, but that's the plan. Anyway. Anybody have anything else? You good? Everybody's quiet. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thanks for showing up. I have no idea who Samsung is. Does anybody know? Who's Samsung? I don't see you, Diana. I see a blank screen. Well, welcome, Samsung, whoever it is. I don't know if that's one of Lily's girls or one of my girls, but it's kind of scary when it's like a phone name. Anyway. Awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out. If you guys have any questions, I'm an open book. I just want to help and share my system, and hopefully it inspires you to find yours and what works for you, and whether it's the Rise Up Planner or something else. But anyway, I'll see you guys.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Love it so much.
Than on my own.
Yes, love it.
Oh, who's that? Is that Diana's kids?
No, that's Hector.
Oh, it's your kid. It's Hector. I was like, whose kid? Oh, Diana. Laugh out loud, no. Awesome. All right. Well, good night, guys. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.